Our content is editable, and now it's time to bring in a little extra functionality to make the app a bit more user-friendly. We want our users to be able to save their edits, if they so desire, so that they can continue making changes at a later date. We also want to give our users the ability to remove all list items. For both these goals, we turn to the HTML5 technology known as local storage. Let's start by setting up our triggers, 2 links, which we'll place right below the list items that you see here. So we're going to place this, as I said, right after the closing UL tag here, and we'll put it in its own paragraph. So let's put in the first link. So because we're just going to be using the link as a trigger of sorts, we'll set the href equal to JavaScript void. Put that semicolon there. And we want to be sure to give this link an ID, and this ID will be save all. And within the link, we'll put the keywords save all. Let me hit return so we can put our next link on another line. And again, it's going to be a href equals javascript.void, open and close paren, semicolon, also with an ID, except this ID is clear all. We close the tag and put in the text, clear all. With our links established, we're ready to code their functions. So for that, we'll scroll down to the bottom of the page, and we're going to put this right after the script tag that calls jQuery. And this is a custom script tag. We'll set the type equal to text JavaScript. Close that and make a couple of lines for our code. Now we'll put in the jQuery document ready function, starting with the $, and then document in parentheses dot ready, followed by parentheses function and its own pair of parentheses. And then we'll make a little space and put in the curly brace, and then hit return to move that all the way down. Now, before I forget, I'm going to go ahead and put a semicolon at the end of that function call. Next, we want to declare a variable, which I'm going to call the list. And I want to set this equal to document.getElementById. And the element by ID that we're getting is for the unordered list, which has an ID of the list. Semicolon at the end. Now we're ready to code the first of 2 click functions. This one will target the save all link. So we'll put in our $, and then the parentheses for the selector with a single quote, and then it's pound save all dot click function. And within the parentheses following function, put an E for error, and then move your cursor outside of the parentheses and put in a curly brace and then return. And again, we'll put in our semicolon. So the first thing we want to do here is to type E prevent default. And that will stop the browser from expecting the link to be an actual link and not a trigger as we're using it here. Again, a semicolon at the end. And now we'll bring in local storage. If they click the Save All link, we want to use local storage to set item, and that item we'll call to-do list. And what are we going to put in to-do list? Well, we're going to put in the list, that's the unordered list, inner HTML. So that will be all of the tags that are contained within the unordered list. Okay, a semicolon there. Because this next function is pretty similar, I'm just going to copy what we just did and then paste that in. Now, instead of being triggered by save all, this is going to be triggered by the link with an ID of clear all. We'll keep the click function and E prevent default, but now we don't want to set an item. In fact, we want to clear all the items, and the function for that is just clear. Now, there's one last bit of code that needs to go in here. Once you've cleared the items, in order for that change to be reflected on the page, you'll have to reload the page. And the way to do that is to type location.reload. Follow that with a pair of parentheses and a semicolon, and those functions are done. We're not quite finished. Now we have to bring in the local storage items when the page loads, which we'll do by putting on its own line the function called load to do, which is a call to a custom function we're just about to create. So function load to do, open and close parentheses, and then on the other side of those, curly brace. Now we only want to attempt to load in these entries if they exist. If we do it and there are no entries there, it's very possible that an error could be thrown. So let's check by using an if statement. If, and then open and close parentheses, local storage dot get item, and the item we're checking on is, of course, the to-do list. If that item exists, then let's set the list's inner HTML equal to that local storage get item. So I'm just going to highlight that, copy it, paste it in, and close it out with a semicolon. As I scanned over my code before I save the page, I realized that I've left off a parentheses here. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that in. It's always a good idea to check your code one last time for those missing elements. And that also indicates that I've got an error there. That was that parentheses that got moved down. But otherwise, I think this looks pretty good. So let's save the page and head over to the browser. I'll click refresh. Let's scroll down a bit. And let's enter in a couple of items here. I thought maybe I would enter in a few movies that I've been wanting to see again. Of course, Jaws is at the top of that list. And then perhaps Watchmen. Big, I always like. And then the animated feature 9. Let's save all. And then I'm going to copy this link, open up a new browser window, and paste it in. And there are our list items. Good to go. But let's say I've watched all my flicks, and now I'm ready to move on. I'll clear the list. And we're back to the default entry. Perfect. Our basic to-do list is up and running.